Hello everyone, I do apologise, I've not got my light on properly. Hello everyone, it is time for another Smackdown watch party. Which means we're going to get Drew McIntyre, we may get Roman, we probably won't. We may get Brock, we probably won't. We may get we probably won't. We may get Vince. The most likely scenario is that we get Vince McMahon. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But hey, it may be required because you never can tell with SmackDown. Sometimes it's just not that interesting, isn't it? So we'll see how it plays out. In the meantime, hi, I'm your host, Tom Colohue. My name's up there if you're not sure of it. And today we're going to be watching SmackDown. In case you haven't spotted that, SmackDown Watch Along. Hi. Oh, 1 second. Bear with me just a moment. I have to do a thing. I do apologise. So, as usual, this will be an Ask Me Anything stream. You can jump in and ask whatever questions you would like. And as usual, we're just going to be talking about SmackDown. We're going to be breaking down what's going on SmackDown. And we're going to be trying to watch SmackDown. Good old-fashioned SmackDown. Bailey says, Tom, just thinking, will you have a screen overlay next week for Money in the Bank? I will. I believe Sai has already designed one for me. So I will be bringing that in and seeing what it looks like probably on Monday's show, at the very least on Friday's show. But in the meantime, let's get the show going, shall we? We're opening with the standard recap, just a lot of recap. Buddy, we're not going to see the show here. If you're watching the show, you watch alongside us. Thank you for joining. If it's not for you, it's not for you, and I understand. Megan says, bit of good news before the show starts. I got over 50 followers earlier this week. Just need to get the average viewers up, then affiliate. Here I come. For those who don't know, Megan is a Twitch streamer just like myself. I also cover YouTube, but Megan is primarily Twitch. So that is great news, Megan. Very, very happy to hear it. And Someone7 says, hey Tom, hello someone, how you doing? Hope you're good. I really do. I am trying a number of different things to try and make BT Sport play along. It's still not perfect, but it's better than it was. So I'm calling it small victories. We are at the moment getting a recap of Matt Riddle versus Roman Reigns. Justin Stevens has asked, will Lesnar be there? It is very unlikely. At this point, my expectation is that what we're going to actually see is no Brock and no Roman until after Money in the Bank. I think that's Roman done for another week or so. Megan says, I would rather take BT Sport over Bleacher Report, to be honest. I mean, to be fair, I tried to get me, I believe, with a fight package so that I could watch CM Punk's return, and all it did was cause drama. So I get it. I get it. I don't love BT. I'm not in love with the job that they do for me. But I also don't hate it. It's not the worst thing in the world. You know? That's what I'm seeing. These recaps get longer and longer because we still haven't even seen Brock come out yet. There we are. These recaps take forever. I get that when it comes to AEW, for example, I'm pro recap. I'm trying to suggest they do more recaps. And I stand by that. I think that's a necessary evil, as it were, to try and improve the overall show. To try and make people stay rather than just pop in and out. I think that's necessary. In WWE, I think we've had enough of them. And I don't think we need the 6-minute recap at the beginning of every single show. I just don't think it's necessary. Fair enough, Justin. Thank you for not spoiling. Is this something that the WWE have announced, or is it something that you've seen on a pay site? Or is it what Simon's just immediately come in with, without worrying about spoilers or anything? Thomas says, just imagine... Thank you, Justin. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, Aaliyah has been taken out of the match. We will have Shotzi versus Tamina instead. Whatever it is, it's very late in the day. Thomas says, just imagine a world where Brock and Lesnar were on the... Well, Brock and Roman, I'd imagine, were on the same page under Heyman's leadership. It would be very two-man power trip. I wouldn't hate it. as I've said. Fair enough, Justin. Thank you for not spoiling. Megan says, I wish we had the skip recap option. It would be perfect, and I do think they should start considering that, doing like a digital recap, as it were, depending on your service. They can skip to the actual match. A recap of the announcement for SummerSlam. The main event will be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Hubert says, why are they letting Roman Reigns have the title so long? Not many people actually fame to face. He is easily the biggest thing in pro wrestling at this point in time, and they just can't build anyone anywhere near that level. Both titles, that's the bigger issue. I think someone else should have the WWE title. I don't think they should have ever got to this point, but we are where we are. Drew McIntyre is opening the show, waving his sword about, giving it a waggle, and heading on down to the ring. As we know, McIntyre is going to be in the ladder match. Thomas says, yes, sorry, Roman, my bad. Who else do you expect to be in the men's ladder match? I'm surprised Omos is there, I'll say that. I would expect we're going to see a Kevin Owens. I would have thought Bobby Lashley, but apparently not. It looks like Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley are going to have their own issue. So, hard to tell. On the Raw side, there's a number of potential competitors. I'd be looking at someone like The Miz, for example. I'd rather have someone like Ali involved. But I don't think that's going to happen. Because, let's face it, they don't really care about Ali. He was promised the world to come back. He did come back. And then they just said, yeah, no. Oh, look, another recap. Great. Simon says, what a shame Aaliyah is the only women's wrestler I like on the show. Now Sasha has gone, oh well. It's funny. It's funny, Simon, because you've said that about so many people. So many people. Hello, Kuro, how are you doing? And Sean is here as well, saying hello, Tom. Hello, Sean. Hello, everyone. We are live at the moment on both Twitch and on YouTube. On YouTube, we have ads back. So that's quite nice. We have ads back. Which means that Tom can earn some money again. Without actually taking it out of people's pockets. We will continue to work on members-only content. To try and make sure there is plenty of it for people to enjoy. So with that in mind, if you're interested in channel membership, you have a number of options. There is a $1 a month option. So $12 a year. You get access to any membership content that's created. And there is also a $5 option. Fair enough, Kuro, just in time for Cena. Sean says, I was going to ask this on spoiler warning, but we ran out of time. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter versus Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. Winner faces Toxic Attraction for the tag team titles. Who do you see winning? No idea, I don't watch NXT. I know nothing about the storyline. I know very little about the wrestlers involved. It's really hard to say. It's really hard to even guess. I would be picking a name out of a hat. I know people in WWE are real high on Roxanne. So she's going to get pushed hard. I just don't know if it's in this match. Thomas says, hasn't it been confirmed that Drew's getting a title match at Clash of Champions? No Clash at the Castle. He has said, I want next. Nobody's confirmed it. Nobody has actually confirmed that it's going to happen. He's just said he wants it. Fight Night are on their way down to the ring. I don't know why Sheamus is stopping Butch from just going for the guy. McHaggis. Lovely. Megan's going to be furious with that, I'm sure. Hubert says, is it me or does Butch take away from the Brawler's annoying gimmick? I disagree. I think he's added a little bit extra. He's changed Rich Holland's character a lot. Rich Holland not even a wrestler at this point. He just sort of Butch's keeper. Thomas says, I'd like to see Sammy in the ladder match. I would like to as well. I'd love to see the Usos help him beat Nakamura tonight. giving Nakamura more heat with Roman. And of course, giving us a possibility that Sami Zayn could win the briefcase. Bayley says, is it a good sign, bad sign, or neither that the predicted call-ups from NXT since WrestleMania never materialised? It's a good thing for them, I'll say that. This was largely down to Triple H's return. Triple H essentially returned and said, hey, we can see your plans. No. And that's kind of how it went. Megan says, put Butch in Money in the Bank match and let chaos reign. I mean, there's slots. And Kuro says, how many ladder match spots are left? 4, I believe, on the men's side. We have Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, and Omos. Sheamus celebrating a successful cash-in on Roman Reigns many years ago. We have ourselves a Paul Heyman. Now they're talking about Roman, they're talking about Brock. Suggests to me that we're not going to see either of them tonight. Thank you for the clarification, Megan. I do believe that to be the case. Paul Heyman is coming down the ramp slightly, with Adam Pearce. I can't help but feel that Paul Heyman's got the wool over someone's eyes with this one. I agree, Sean. I didn't expect AJ Styles or anyone like that to be in it, but I didn't expect Omos either. It's kind of hard to read on the Raw side at the minute. I expect Kevin Owens, but maybe Ezekiel will be in there too. Summerslam hype when we're not even at Money in the Bank yet. And that's as much hype as you're going to get because neither of them are here. Megan says we'll find out 2 spots tonight. Yep, we've got Sami versus Nakamura for the men's side. And we have Shotzi versus Tamina for the women's side. Believe what, Sean? What are you talking about? What am I supposed to believe? Nearly 15 minutes in, and so far nothing has happened apart from Butch occasionally looking threatening. Whenever he's on camera, he's just sort of edging towards Drew. Bit of background acting, I like that. Sean, I always believed it because it's true. You come here for a reason. You come here for backstage news. Elias and Ezekiel being brothers, there's your backstage news. Ezekiel's been coming to watch Elias wrestle for years now. Years. I don't understand why anybody sees different here. It's like people are seeing what they want to see, you know? This is just a lot of Paul Heyman now. It's not really helping Drew or Sheamus. Okay, so how are you going to ensure that, Paul? That's fair, Megan. It was a lovely moment. Both men able to just sort of celebrate each other a little bit. If there's one thing Kevin Owens is doing well, it's helping us make sure that Ezekiel has a good launch, because Elias isn't always there to help him. Corey Heyman has definitely leveraged Adam Pearce. I miss Sonya Deville. Okay, so what? We're going to have another match for this? This is wheel spinning. You can say the word influence, it's just a word, don't be afraid of it. Bayley is storyline based. Sonya Deville at current does not have a storyline, and they've just sort of put her on the back burner for now. She'll be back soon, I'm sure. I see where we're going. Sheamus and McIntyre team together to take on the Usos. I don't think either of them are going to have a problem with that. I think they're actually going to be a very effective fighting machine, and then immediately after the match they're going to start beating the hell out of each other. Much like that brief time when we had Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair on the same team against the Riot Squad, and then as soon as the match was over, Ronda just started punching Charlotte. Thomas is asking Sheamus versus Drew at Money in the Bank. No, I do think they're going to win against the Usos, and I do think they're going to qualify for Money in the Bank. Simon says, do you know why Aaliyah was pulled tonight? I do not. I have no idea. Yeah, I know it was very late in the day because she's been hyping the match on Twitter quite recently, so it was a very late in the day pull. It must have been when she got to the arena and found out, nah, they're actually not doing it. I'm not aware of any injury myself. Naturally, that's not a guarantee of anything. As I've said, I'm not the most well-connected person in the world. But I think there's plenty of evidence when it comes to injuries and the like that I do have the link to it. After all, I had Big E's return schedule, Cody's return schedule, and way back when, Kairi Sane's, down to a T. Megan says, tell me Americans don't realise pissed off Irish and Scots make deadly allies without telling me Americans don't realise pissed off Irish and Scots make deadly allies. Ah, yes. Nobody really remembers that the Celtic connection is actually a thing. All we need is an Englishman on the other side. If there was an Englishman supporting the Usos, then McIntyre and Sheamus would destroy the entire damn world. Now, I have Irish blood. So every now and then I can just avoid the fact that I also have English blood and just celebrate the fact that I'm in that ass-kicking section instead. Because God help me, the English are terrible at kicking butt. Absolutely useless. We have our first commercial break. It looks like we are opening with Nakamura versus Sami Zayn, which is a pretty good opener, let's be honest. SmackDown over the last 2 weeks has improved considerably. It's been... I don't know how to say this. Fun? WWE Smackdown has been... fun? Then again, it feels very strange to say that Raw's good, but Raw is genuinely quite good at the minute. Like, genuinely, Raw is quite good. Becky Lynch has been absolutely leading the charge in a wonderful way. Seth Rollins is just a great character. Judgment Day versus whatever's gone on with AJ Styles has been fantastic. You've got Bianca Belair. The women are really leading on Raw at the moment. But at the same time, you have genuinely interesting storylines. Everything Kevin Owens is doing right now, for example. There's just so much good stuff on Raw right now. SmackDown's struggling to catch up. It kind of needs Roman, but it's not got him, so they've got to do what they can. Simon, I saw that you asked that earlier, and as I said at the time, I've been over this many times. Many times. So I'm not going to answer that right now. Bailey says, well, there's a lot of US news. A question, how and why is Boris Johnson still in power? Well, okay, I have a suspicion that he may have intentionally triggered the vote of no confidence early to give himself another year, knowing that people didn't quite have that opinion. At the moment, my suggestion would be that he's desperately clinging on to power by making infuriating promises which don't make any sense, and somehow he's still around. Sean says, could WWE get Logan Paul for the Saudi Arabia show to face Miz? Yep. It's all entirely based on Logan Paul's availability. He wants to wrestle for the WWE. He wants to keep training. He did well at WrestleMania. The WWE were genuinely impressed because, like him or not, when it comes to his content, and believe me, I'm more in the not category, he did genuinely do a good job at WrestleMania. So I would like to see him versus The Miz. Because when it comes to wrestling, you have to kind of ignore the people and focus entirely on the characters. For example, I think AJ Styles is the best wrestler in the world. The more I learn about him as an individual, not quite there. Michael Cole has clarified that the tag team championships will not be on the line, almost guaranteeing that the Usos will be losing. Simon, The Rock has not been booked for a match with Roman Reigns. There is no currently planned match between The Rock and Roman Reigns. You have to stop making everything based on that. That was quite harsh, just to be clear. You're not always doing that. It's something I've read quite a bit so far. Hector says, I never thought I'd get to the point where I felt like Sheamus was as good as he is now. Then I realised he had to suffer through the League of Nations and that storyline where he beat Roman for the title. I'm so glad we're past all that. This Sheamus might be the best Sheamus we've had. Hello, Dean. How are you doing? Great to see you back, mate. Hope you're well. Sami Zayn in a Bloodline t-shirt still hits in the right mode. I just love the aesthetic. Kuro says, did WWE pull a typical WWE stunt and put John Cena in Money in the Bank? I wouldn't put it past them. If they've got him, they should at least put him on the card. That said, I do think Austin Theory is likely to be in the match. So maybe the last two on Raw will be Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley. And the match between Theory and Bobby Lashley doesn't actually happen until after SummerSlam. Thomas Phipps is hoping to see Sami win. Me too, to be honest. I don't usually vote against Nakamura, but I'd like to see Sami win. A little disappointed that Pat McAfee didn't dance to Nakamura's theme this time. Cheers for the spoiler there, Simon. I don't think it's not a move. Sonya was already on SmackDown. Like, she featured on Raw, but Sonya has always been listed internally as a SmackDown superstar. It's never been any different. Hopefully it means there's a plan for her, even if that plan is versus Lacey Evans for a bit. Which, let's be honest, their plan is probably versus Lacey Evans for a bit. Dean says, I hope to see Sheamus win Money in the Bank. I wouldn't be against it. Absolutely not. I would love to see him just walk straight into the last man standing match and say, yeah, I'm here now. Triple threat. The Usos get balanced out by the rest of Fight Night. Butch and Ridge Holland just sort of bar them from ringside with pure physicality. I think that could really work. I'd like it. Megan says, I don't know about this. I'll be sad if Sami doesn't qualify, but I think I'll be more sad if Sami does qualify and then not get the briefcase. Sami's a wild card for Money in the Bank. And to be honest, he's one of the most exciting possibilities. Matter of fact, that's a tweetable one. So let's do that as a tweet. Sami Zayn is definitely the wild card for Money in the Bank. Click on the hashtag. It's not hard to click on a hashtag. He's also one of the most exciting options. WWE Smackdown. Kuro says, I just have this stomach/gut feeling Cena somehow gets in that match and wins, and even though I'm a huge Cena fan, I'd be really disappointed. Your gut is failing you. Hey Fry, how you doing, mate? Thomas says, thinks Seth wins and then there's a repeat of the WrestleMania triple threat at SummerSlam. That's what I've been saying for a week or so now, and I think that'd be absolutely perfect. I think that'd be a great story. A loud Sami sucks chant from the crowd. Sami's looking for a count out. I'm suspecting there's going to be a commercial break in the middle of this one, but it looks like it's not going to be involved in a count out. Simon says, Seth, Sheamus if they win. means Money in the Bank ladder match would make history and become 2 Money in the Bank winners alongside CM Punk, Edge and Carmella. And Dean says, I haven't been watching WWE lately, so don't know much yet. Fair enough. SmackDown is improving again, but Raw is definitely the A show nowadays. Kevin Owens' work with Elias and Ezekiel has been pretty good. Fry says, is Roman Reigns on SmackDown tonight? I don't believe he will be, no. Not after Brock Lesnar last week. And of course his match with Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle, by the looks of it, is back on Raw now, full time. I hope you enjoy it, Sean. I hope you enjoy it. I believe it's on Disney Digital now, so I will probably watch it there. Myself and Tiny Arms finished Loki 2 days ago, I want to say. So now we're in position to actually watch it. And we have a commercial break after Shinsuke gets dumped over the side. Yes, Simon, we get Elrod on Monday. Just a constant evolution. Hector says, I'm not usually one for overly obvious heel announcers, but with the amount of built-in storylines available with Pat McAfee, there's so much potential. Turning on Nakamura to possibly start something with Michael Cole, where he faces an opponent of Cole's choice. Give me all the Pat McAfee all the time. I'm very happy with the position that Pat McAfee is already in, particularly given that Baron Corbin is now stepping up to him. Pat McAfee gets a lot of cheers, so I'd rather keep him in that position where he can work with, for example, a Sheamus, and just help develop those people secondarily to Roman. Kura says, the colour on my TV must be down because Sheamus looked like he had a tan earlier. I am more tan than Sheamus. It's been very hot here in the UK over the past few weeks. I've been tanning. As you can likely see, particularly this area, compared to this, that's a lot more brown. A lot more brown. So I have the Irish blood of Sheamus, but here we are. Not quite as difficult to tan. Simon would like to Liv traded to SmackDown in September. Very possible. Liv is one of those that I'm keeping my eye on for the draft and trying to find out what's going to happen, because I do feel like a swap over would suit her better. And Dean wants to see Roman versus AJ. Me too. I don't know why they haven't gone back to that well after it was so well received way back when. They had a 2-month feud and it's been fantastic and genuinely appointment viewing. I keep going back to watch it because it was just so good. Megan says it's been far too hot. I don't like it. Rained earlier and I sat outside in it for a good 5 minutes to cool down. We got some rain today. I was working so I couldn't go outside, but we finally got some rain. Yes, Sean, if Cody wasn't injured, he was the favourite to win Money in the Bank. Now that he is, that's no longer the case. Simon is interested in Bobby versus Roman. Me too for that one. Me too. I think there's a lot of very good options. The WWE just haven't built them particularly well. And as such, they're not the most exciting. Yes, Thomas. AJ does not like working with Paul Heyman at all. Sami Zayn shouting at the crowd a little bit. Looks like during the commercial break it's been a long heat period. Nakamura just laying on the floor for most of it. Kura says about 15 minutes ago, WrestleZone was saying Tony Khan has already talked about the Forbidden Door 2 based on the success they've already had. That's a bad take. Why? He wants a future for his company. What's wrong with that? Of course, I don't know if that quote's accurate, so I'd need to see if it was actually a quote. You say WrestleZone reported, which suggests that it's from a source, so no guarantee. WrestleZone, not a reliable site that I've ever seen. Simon says, do you ever see CM Punk return to the WWE one day to go in the Hall of Fame? Yeah. Hector says, if Undertaker doesn't use the inspirational mic like he had during his Hall of Fame speech, I'm not interested. Bless. Shinsuke kicks out of a Michinoku driver. Gotta say, Sami Zayn delivers a Michinoku driver like nobody's business. Real smooth. Steve, how you doing? Says, what's happening, Tom? Just wanted to drop in and say hello. Just finished work. Look forward to checking out Spoiler Warning. Thank you very kindly for dropping in, sir. Great to see you. I do hope you're well. And I hope when you eventually do get the opportunity to watch all of SmackDown, I hope you enjoy it. Bit of news that people may enjoy. I am back to being monetized again here on the old ye old YouTube. I did have to set up a company formally and get a certificate of incorporation to do it, but we got there in the end. Steve also says, any word why Aaliyah was taken out of the qualifier this evening? There are rumours that she's been traded to Raw and Sonya Deville has been held on SmackDown. Someone brought that in earlier. I think it was Simon who brought that in earlier. From what I can tell, there's no injury involved. It's just a case that they got to the arena and Aaliyah was told, yeah, we don't want to do that match anymore. This is a very Sami Zayn heavy match. Very Sami Zayn heavy. Sean says, if WWE offered CM Punk a Hall of Fame induction, he would probably turn it down knowing him. Unfortunately, Sean, I do have to say, you don't know him. None of us actually know him. Just want to be clear. None of us know him. So, we'll see how it actually happens. If it does go down, I suspect there is a Hall of Fame in his future. Kura says, a direct quote during the media call. Before the pay-per-view, Khan stated that the possibility of the sequel is to be expected, given the success the show in the early stages. Yes, absolutely, said Khan. I thought a lot about it. We've already discussed the possibility of Forbidden Door 2 based on the success already we've had with this event, selling well over $1 million in tickets. Yep, that makes sense. One thing I'm not seeing there, what was the question that he was asked? Was it a leading question? We never considered the possibility that the person was asked a leading question. The amount of times we hear, oh, someone really wants a match with this person, and it makes headline news, when in reality, more often than not, they were asked, do you ever want to wrestle this person? Out of respect, they just say, yeah, sure. Justin says, how does a Money in the Bank winner not catch in after the last man standing match? They choose not to. Kayfabe-wise, they can choose to do anything else if they would like. Megan says, I think the possibility of more cross-company shows did come up during the media call. I think I saw both SRS and John Pollock mention it on Twitter. Steve says, thank you, buddy. I'm well, thank you. Good to see your monetization is back. The ads are on when clicking on the vid. Always good news. Always good news. Sami Zayn has defeated Shinsuke Nakamura with a hell of a kick. And Sami Zayn, clean, really, is going to Money in the Bank. The wild card that we needed. But yes, I'll finally start getting the payments through. Now that I've got it all lined up and the certificate of incorporation is in place. And we'll go from there. Oh, always nice, always nice. Simon says, I was just talking with a friend on Twitter, a fellow Sasha fan in the crew. Okay, more Sasha. Okay. Kura says, it doesn't say the question, unfortunately. Yeah, they never do they? They never do. Thank you for your congratulations there, Simon. Thomas Phipps says, get in there, Sammy. Sean says, is Wrestling Epicenter reliable? I've seen them post wrestling news. No idea who they are. Never heard of them. Justin says, both Money in the Bank matches this year are 7. Kind of strange. I did not. Is it only 7? I thought it was 8 men, 7 women. Steve says, I want Sammy to win Money in the Bank. Won't happen, but we can always cheer him on. We'll definitely cheer him on. I think he's deserving of an opportunity like that. I don't necessarily think that opportunity will actually come. But it'd be lovely. I think he'd be very good in that particular position with the briefcase. Thank you, Steve. Thanks for dropping in. And I hope you have a great night. Almost immediately after that match finishes, the New Day are down to the ring. I'm not sure who they're... I was about to say I'm not sure who they're wrestling, then I remembered that they're currently embroiled in a feud with Jinder Mahal and Shanky to try and get Shanky dancing over. Yes, Simon. Sasha will definitely go into the Hall of Fame at least once. Becky and Charlotte will likely go in twice. Welcome, Wiggly. How you doing, mate? Megan says, I still want Shayna and Sammy to win the cases, but I know that's not happening. Unfortunately not. As we know, Shayna isn't even in it. Hector says, Tom, has WWE explained how the winner of the Money in the Bank is going to cash in? Can you cash in on one of the titles, or is it both or nothing? They've not explained anything like that, but as I mentioned, I'm confident whoever cashes in will only take one championship. No, Sean, I fully expect that WWE will induct a horsewoman. That's the one time that I'm referring to with Sasha Banks. Becky and Charlotte will go in separately and horsewomen, in my mind, which is why they'll get more than one induction. Sasha Banks will only get the one. That's what I would see given the current circumstances. But this is pure speculation. This is a guess on my part. Unfortunately, some of us are asking a lot of questions as regards Sasha Banks, which there is no answer to. So if you want me to guess, I will eventually do that. Wiggly says, I see the wrestler formerly known as Nia Jax is coming to wrestle in Nottingham. I'm going to choose not to be there. Bailey says, does Ronda Rousey have a limited date contract or a full-time deal? A limited date contract, which extends close to a full-time deal. So it's a bit more than Edge, for example, but it's less than a full-timer like Charlotte Flair. Sean says, Bailey gets 2 inductions. No idea. Once again, pure guessing at this point. Thomas says, any update on Naomi? A brief one was in spoiler warning earlier. If you want to check that out after the show, that'll be the update. It is right at the beginning because I turned on spoiler warning a couple of hours ago when we start, and all I got was an immediate bombardment of where's Sasha, where's Sasha, where's Sasha, where's Sasha, where's Sasha, despite the fact I recently posted a video that says, where is Sasha? That was Monday's video. I gave a lot of updates on that video. A lot of updates. There is no new news. There won't be news every single day. It's not going to happen. I've given the updates that I can, and as soon as I get more, you'll know. Oh, lovely long weekend, isn't it? Related to that, in July, the 7th, which is on a Thursday, is my birthday. So we may have a bit of a birthday party either on that day, the day before, or for spoiler warning on the 8th. We may just have ourselves a little party. That is, of course, 2 weeks away. So just to give everyone a heads up, my birthday in 13 days. Justin says, can't wait until the Bloodline induction. Will be a great moment for Reigns, Usos and Sami Zayn. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, Simon. The WWE know how to make money. If they've taken videos down, it's with a view to re-releasing them as soon as Sasha Banks and Naomi are positive for SEO. Oh, Bailey says, here's a video question. What is the most watched video on the Colohue channel so far? It is a video announcing the firing of 2 people. The former president of the WWE and I believe a brand officer at the time. I'm not certain on that one. But that got a lot of coverage from a lot of different sites because there was a lot of news in there that you couldn't find anywhere else. Now, I don't get that many. I don't get that much coverage anymore. But at the time, I got a lot. So if you go to home on my page, go down to the bottom. Popular uploads, 8.2 thousand views. WWE head office releases George Barrios and Michelle Wilson. After that, it's about Brock Lesnar, Summerslam. News about Drake Maverick when he got a new contract for released talents. And then fourth is our Hell in a Cell show from earlier this month, which had 4.1 thousand views. So my most viewed videos are 2 years ago, 2 years ago, 2 years ago, and then 2 weeks ago. The top ones at the moment got a hell of a lot of media coverage. But in a couple more months, I'll be overhauling them for things that I've done purely on my own 2 feet. Courier says Canada gives the Monday off if the holiday falls on a Friday, Saturday or Sunday. So you get the Friday off and Monday off. Lovely. Lovely. Megan says, seen a clip over on Get the Tables which seems to show the moment Rhea picked up her injury. The head injury. Thanks for the link. I will wait until we're off stream and I will give that a try. So to be clear, the whole point here is that New Day want to get Shanky dancing and Jinder doesn't. People are cheering for it. Hector says, if there was ever any doubt on how WWE feels about AJ Styles, look at Slammiversary. Vince doesn't allow people to stream on Twitch or promote other companies. The fact that AJ was able to do this says volumes. Scott D'Amore even publicly thanked AJ and WWE on Twitter as well. Yep. I mean, all of that is correct. You're absolutely spot on. So Xavier Woods is going to play the trombone. And Shanky's going to dance. Do you remember how we spoke about the fact that when you give someone a dancing feud, it's the beginning of the end? Yeah. Thomas Phipps not enjoying this. Jermaine Welcome says, I want Sami Zayn winning Money in the Bank, cashing in on Roman. The match happens and Roman gives him the finger poke of doom. Sami falls down, Roman pins him and wins the match and gives him a t-shirt. Well, that would at least be official. Kuro is enjoying the Shanky dance. Shanky just did a push on Jinder. I don't think they're friends anymore. Thomas says, is there any chance of a relationship developing between WWE and Impact? There already is a relationship between WWE and Impact. It just only benefits WWE at this point in time. Justin says, I really hope WWE doesn't do Rousey, Flair and Becky Belair again at SummerSlam. Having those two along with Reigns, Lesnar will be rematch city. Indeed, of like 10 or 11 matches that would be there, we'll be looking at 3 of them. That said, I do think Bianca Belair will likely have a different challenger and we'll get Becky versus Asuka instead. The return of the Viking Raiders continues at pace. They are calling out the New Day, which means that Shanky kind of has nothing to do now. Thomas is exciting for Viking Raiders New Day. Megan says, bring on the Vikings. The Raiders have pyro. You know what that means. It means they've got pyro. They're attacking first Shanky and now the New Day from behind. Which, when the New Day walked straight to the front of the ring, that seemed pretty clear it's where we're headed. Sean says Viking Raiders heel turn. Yep. Yep. They needed a heel turn. They need to be rebuilt. They need to wrestle someone. Going heel against the New Day seems the easiest way to actually try and get them over. Gotta remember, not many tag teams at the moment. Simon said, I've done some digging around asking. Mike Johnson, Sean Ross Sapp say, Aaliyah's situation is still unknown at this time, which, let's be fair, is exactly what I've said. The Viking Raiders seem to be taking the Bludgeon Brothers approach. I don't hate that. It's a decent beatdown. I'm happy with that. It's a good reintroduction. After all, if we're going to rebuild a tag division, you've got to have tag teams. Hello, Sonia Deville. Lovely and colourful as well. Hello, Boo. How are you? Of course, Sonia doesn't have Naomi in the way anymore. So it makes sense that she would be on SmackDown, but there aren't really any obvious storylines for her. It must be either Raquel or Lacey. Must be. I'm a big fan of Sonya Deville. She's got the style, she's got the promo, she's got the look, and she has the range in the ring. She has everything required to be top level. But she's getting a little bit of Baron Corbin about her at this point. Sonya Deville has called out Raquel Rodriguez and Lacey Evans. I think it's fair. She should have at least had a qualifying match. Get her in with Shotzi. Rude. So Sonya's in a handicap match with Lacey Evans and Raquel Rodriguez. Is Lacey going to turn heel on Raquel Rodriguez? Is that what's going to happen? I mean, I'm glad to see her in the ring, but it's not the best way to do it. Hector says, for pure speculation, if Vince and Co, Kevin Dunn, Pritchard, Laurinaitis, are indeed gone as a fan and knowing what I know, my perfect new structure would be Steph as CEO, Heyman head of talent relations, and Jeremy Borash as head of creative. I'd love your thoughts on this. I'm not sure what you're asking for my thoughts on. You've laid out what you would like to see. Heyman wouldn't want the talent relations job. He definitely wouldn't want that. Stephanie's very unlikely to be a full-time CEO because ultimately she was appointed temporarily, and that doesn't mean in any way she'll stay. So, also Jeremy Borash, I'm not there for as head of creative. Like, if you're going to have Heyman, have him be creative. But he was asking, will it be 7 or 8 superstars in the men's? Well, I believed it would be 8. That was the plan, as far as I could tell. Simon said, what are your thoughts on Jade in AEW? She's very good. That's basically all I've got. I mostly just follow her on social media. I don't watch enough AEW to be able to have that strong an opinion. But she seems to be absolutely dominating. Gotcha, Justin. Well, at least now you know the WWE's logic for it. It's certainly different. Thomas Phipps said Heyman would be awesome as head of creative. I agree. When he has been in charge of creative, he's been very, very good. It's too rare. Far too rare. We are nearly halfway through SmackDown. The handicap match, I'm sure, will last 4, maybe 5 minutes because we have a draw segment to be getting to. Not sure what our draw segment's going to be this week. Ronda Rousey is the obvious choice, but we also have Ricochet and Gunther. Wouldn't be the worst idea. Okay, Simon. I would still choose Paul Heyman. Megan says, just a quick comment during the ad break. Totally off topic. Fuck the Supreme Court, you absolute morally bankrupt assholes. Seems fair. Seems fair. I agree. Bailey says, are there any younger creative backstage people coming up? Dunn, Pritchard, Laurinaitis, even Heyman are all 55 plus. There was. He left. Dewey Foley had a lot of good feeling about him. There's also a writer whose name escapes me at this point in time, but she wrote the Otis and Mandy Rose storyline. I really liked her work. I'm disappointed that she didn't get to stick around. Jermaine says, I believe everyone needs to be patient about Sasha Banks. She'll be back wrestling this year, I believe. Whether it's in WWE or not, she will be wrestling. We'll see how that goes. Guru says, tickets for the Raw in my city in September are being stopped from being resold. Somebody is using the resale feature to make the ticket prices 10,000. Yeah, people have got too used to that. AEW gets hit with that hard. really hard. Sean says Lacey getting a jobber entrance. Not good. Not great. Not great. Hello, Tommy. What happened with SmackDown in the beginning? They announced that we would see the Usos versus Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. There was a couple of wrestling matches. And now here we are. The tag team of Raquel Rodriguez and Lacey Evans against Sonya Deville. Thank you, Megan. Andrea Listenberger was the writer I was thinking of. Thank you for the clarification there. It's always great having you to back me up when I forget things. People don't know whether to cheer or boo Sonya at the moment. It's an interesting reaction. Once they do know, they'll know. I don't miss good old SmackDown. This is decent SmackDown. What? Shayna Baszler and Xia Li are working with Sonya. Now, Shayna Baszler was an obvious choice, but this also kind of sucks. Because this is supposed to be revenge for the qualifications. That would be an interesting one, Megan. I think that would be a good shout. TJ Wilson as talent relations. That'd be a really good shout. I think they still kind of need him as a producer because the women's division doesn't seem to have any good producers other than TJ Wilson. But he'd be a very good talent relations person. I don't think Shayna Baszler's very happy in the WWE anymore. Though to be fair, that's always her face. She's in character. So Sonya has backup. Is this going to be a faction, or is this just a case of trying to give Xia Li something to do? Because it feels like they're just trying to give Xia Li something to do. We're apparently playing this straight. Shayna Baszler is just trying to distract Raquel Rodriguez. I would be surprised if Lacey Evans loses this one. I wouldn't be like too surprised with WWE, but I would be surprised. That said, Sonya Deville could really do with some rebuilding. I don't know how this is going to go, which is nice. Megan says, Shayna's on TV. I'll take this since it's probably all we're going to get since they've forgotten she's a literal badass who could destroy all the women in the ring. Yep. Sonya's the only person who could even come close because of her actual MMA training as well. But it would still be Shayna all day, every day. I've wanted a Sonya versus Shayna feud for ages. It's time to turn Sonya Deville face. Has been for a while. I would say so as well, Bailey. Yeah, that does make sense. It absolutely does make sense. Natalia's been basically training them for a while. Sean says if Shayna isn't happy in WWE, she has a friend in AEW. She also has friends in WWE. Hector says, Tom, did you see Christian's Masterful Heel promo? Nope. And Sean says, last we saw Sonya, she was getting DDT'd to the mat by Alexa. We did. And now she is back. But yeah, I didn't see Christian's Masterful Heel promo. I don't watch enough AEW, as I've mentioned. I just don't watch it regularly enough to really know what's going on. And when I do tune in, tend to be that afterwards I still have no idea what's going on. So Sonya Deville's being very, very comfortably shown as an equal here, which is nice. Raquel going for a finish. Shayna with the distraction. Raquel takes her eyes off the ball, but Sonya just goes for a punch. Joey says Shayna has been booked like a jobber. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Evans puts down Sonya. Sonya Deville loses. So essentially what happened there was Adam Pearce bullied Sonya Deville successfully. Sonya Deville got herself some backup, but she's still the bad guy. Yeah, I'm not there for that. So Adam Pearce bullied Sonya Deville into a handicap match. Sonya tried to get some backup, but it didn't work out. Somehow she's the villain. It is high time for Sonya Deville to turn face. Right, so the faces win again. That was pre-show booking at best. We have Street Profits backstage. Hyping up their impending Money in the Bank match. They're cross-brand at the moment, Sean. Just at the moment, though. Running into Los Lotharios backstage. Surprised that didn't end up being a tag team match. Megan says Christian basically implied Jungle Boy's mum was attracted to him. Jungle Boy's dad would be ashamed of him if he was still alive. That he only allied himself with Jurassic Express for an easy paycheck. I mean, he got an easy paycheck, that's true. So the Street Profits are just walking backstage, giving TV time to everyone who hasn't actually got any. We got to Madcap. So everyone not booked is just in this hallway at once. Moss looks ready to wrestle. Interesting. No, Sean, Street Profits are not moving to SmackDown. Though, of course, they may end up with the Undisputed Championships, at which point they'll be both. I don't see them winning. Not at Money in the Bank, anyway. Very strong boos there. And people worked out they were looking at Natalya, not Ronda. Now, I'm going to be clear. There is a strong possibility we're about to get a This Is Your Life. If people remember that, it's hard to forget because it was terrible. That said, Natalya has nailed the eye makeup, let's be fair. I think that's the line I actually want to mention. At the very least, Natalya has nailed the eye makeup. Because she has, that's that. Hector says, Tom, did you see Parker Boudreaux? Debuted last night in MLW for a Battle Royal match. Now thought he'd pop back up this soon. Yeah. He does want to wrestle. He was dropped from WWE and just waited for the first person to come along, and they're literally the first person that came along. He wanted to get in the ring and he wanted to start talking. He'll be doing so. Yes, Kuro, I did bring up This Is Your Life. Sean says Alexis was bad, but it wasn't her fault. She tried her best to make it good. Yep. Vince McMahon himself made a point of not blaming Alexa or Bayley for that segment. One of the few times he actually blamed himself. Megan says, I hated parts of the promo, mainly because I still have a lot of unresolved issues with the loss of my dad. I think he would be ashamed of me if he was still alive, so that shit hurt me. See something that real and hurtful used for cheap heat is bullshit. The WWE often get attacked for phrases like, Eddie's not looking down on you, Eddie's in hell, from Randy Orton. AEW also, every now and then, they get cheap. I think wrestling in general, it's a bit of a cheap place. You know? It's a bit of a cheap place. So Ronda Rousey and Natalya is going to be our draw segment. Makes sense. In the absence of Roman, Sasha, Brock and Charlotte, Ronda is a de facto biggest name in the company. I should say biggest name on SmackDown. I think Seth does technically overtake her on the Raw side. Becky possibly as well. So on SmackDown, she's a de facto leader. After Roman, Sasha, Charlotte and Brock. So it makes sense that she would be in the draw segment. They need to start putting some heat into this feud with Natalya because there isn't any. Like, we all know it's happening. We don't care that it's happening, but we do know it's happening. Okay, Simon, cheers for that update. Megan says, I had a bit of a rant on Twitter about it after it happened. Didn't leave me in a good place mentally, but I knew it was pointless calling out AEW because they don't care. Yeah, like other wrestling companies that we know, criticism just rolls off them. Although they do respond to criticism more than WWE does. Tony Khan himself will sometimes jump into your mentions and go on the attack. Sean says, my guess, the top 3 women draws on Raw are Becky, Alexa, Bianca. I would say so, yeah. I would say that's it. In that order. Hector says, as bad as This Is Your Life was, just remember, Tom, with the Bobby Lashley sister segment, that happened. That did happen. That did happen. There's only so many times you can watch something like that, you know? Now, this is just Natalya being Natalya, let's be honest. Simon says, do you think Liv is a draw? Everyone is a draw, it's just how much of a draw. I will often say this person's a draw, this person's not a draw. It's not true. Almost everyone has had tickets sold purely for them. That includes Liv Morgan, that includes Natalya, that includes the Viking Raiders. That even includes Kurt Hawkins. It's just how much of a draw you are. Liv doesn't come anywhere close to a Sasha Banks or a Ronda Rousey, but I'd certainly say she has sold tickets in the past. Megan says, I will say the hair is actually good look for Natty. Makeup is questionable, but I suppose that's the point. The thing is, I don't hate the cosplay. I don't hate it. I've never really seen Natty in the streets. I'd like to. I think she'd suit a more relaxed look. Seriously, what's with the stroller? Like, what's the point? Like, they went out and bought a stroller. Is she going to get suplexed through a stroller? Because that could be a problem. Well then, yes, Simon, for you personally, she is a draw. Okay, you've referenced a stroller, but once again, what is the point of it? You could have just said stroller. None of this was necessary. To be fair to Natalya, she's actually doing a solid job here. Like, no one's enjoying this. But Natalya's definitely trying to do the job. She's doing a good job of it. Sean says, Tom, do you know if WWE got rid of their celebrity wing for a Hall of Fame? They didn't, it's still there. Megan says, when a Ronda cosplayer does a better promo than Ronda. It was a solid promo. Ronda's eye makeup is worse than Natalya's. I mean, that's unnecessary. Like, that's genuinely unnecessary. Daly says, Ronda simply does not have mic skills. She needs a manager. May happen one day. She's a bit Roman Reigns. Remember when Roman Reigns was Roman Reigns? Joey says Natalya has always been boring. She's easily the more fun one in this feud. She's the one doing the job. Megan will never understand Ronda's makeup style. I don't think any of us will. The crowd are responding to Ronda, I'll say that. Okay, you're stealing her jacket for some reason. She's going through the stroller. This is dumb. This is dumb. Sean says, did you see that Mick Foley is petitioning to get Donald Trump out of the Hall of Fame? Yeah, he won't succeed, but nice of him to try. Fans chant for Ronda. Joey says, NXT used to have the best women's division. They still have a solid one, let's be fair. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus are backstage for our main event hype. Hector says, since it happened after Monday, did you like how WWE did the Elias beard and story? When Zeke debuted, my first thought, this was dumb and lazy, and now I love it, and I think it's great. Those are the best stories. Fashion Files. First happened, everyone was like, what the hell was that? Then they fell in love with it. Burn it down. First happened, everyone was like, that is ridiculous. Then they started shouting it. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I know what the stroller was to represent, Sean. I wanted to see why it was there. To be fair, Natalya didn't do a bad job with a really bad script tonight. We have ourselves Gunther versus Ricochet, which I'm sure you can tell I'm quite excited for. Hello on the other side, Wiggly. Kura says that was a I want your jacket segment. Yeah, it wasn't great. Rob says Gunther restoring legitimacy. Gunther is our palate cleanser. And imagine he would not have been happy with the segment that just happened. Not happy at all. But the thing is, he's not there to be happy. He's there to be angry. He's there to chop people. He's a very, very different performer. And he looks damn good with that championship. BM says, are you going to watch Forbidden Door on Sunday? Probably not. I'll catch up on the matches that I'm interested in, which is the IWGP Heavyweight Championship match. And that's it. I would have watched it, Tomohiro Ishii, but he's not in it anymore. Megan says, someone get these lads into a beer tent, they'll be besties by the main event. That's all Drew and Sheamus need. We all know it. We all know it. Just get him a little bit drunk and it'll all be fine. Joey says, the women have always been booked bad on the main roster. Vince just wants them to be bikini models. The women have not always been booked badly on the main roster. That is not even close to true. Like, there are definitely bad segments, but the women have not always been booked badly. I just want to be very clear on that. Have you seen Becky Lynch? Not booked badly. Have you seen Asuka since her return? Not booked badly. Have you seen Bianca Belair? Not booked badly. Rhea Ripley at the moment, going pretty good. Pretty happy with her. Alexa Bliss has had lots of really good periods where she's been booked brilliantly. Ronda Rousey was booked to be the top of the mountain. Wasn't booked badly, tell you that. So the women have not always been booked badly. That said, yep, there are some bad segments, but we do need to move on from the idea that everything is awful. Of course, we also need to move on from the idea that everything is awesome, but everything is cool if you're part of a team. Simon says, Kevin Owens is long overdue a world title run. I agree there. Cora thinks the black and red go well together. I completely agree. Rob says, I don't think Ludwig needs his jacket all that badly. It's So the main reason for that is so that when he wrestles, you can look at his abs, which, to be fair, they're worth looking at. Joey says, who do you think will be the mystery person at Forbidden Door? No idea. Again, I don't watch AEW enough, so I don't know. At a guess, I'd say Cesaro. BM says, I fell asleep during Raw and missed Asuka twice. Well, that's on you, mate. You call yourself an Asuka fan. How dare you? Goro says, Volta's not just there to chop, he's there to almost break your clavicle while doing so. True. Very fair. And Hector says, Tom, do you follow Ludwig Kaiser on Instagram? The man's a walking first trap. Look at the man's chiseled body. Well, now you said that, Hector, I'm probably going to go over there and do that. If you like first traps, and you might not believe me if you've watched WWE for a long time, Dick Togo is great to follow on Instagram. On a somewhat similar but also slightly different element, Minoru Suzuki's insane and hilarious on Instagram. So, usually worth checking out. I get you, BM. We're all getting old. We're all getting old. Simon's favourite AEW wrestlers are Tony Storm and Adam Cole. Cool. We're more than halfway through SmackDown. It's been okay. They've top-loaded it. The good matches are all coming now, although we did start okay with Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura. We've seen some changes. Sonya Deville being back involved. I'm happy with that. Pretty happy with that. Having backup, okay. Ronda Rousey and Natalya segment, not great. Really drags it down. But we should be going into a pretty good run at this point, because Ricochet and Gunther had a great match a couple of weeks ago. I'm very excited to see the second run at it. Shotzi, Tamina, I'm not excited for, but our main event, Usos versus McIntyre and Sheamus, that's going to be good. Rob said Ludwig has some breakout potential simmering underneath everything. I agree, and I think it's very good that he's getting a background push at the moment. So he's being featured regularly. He's just being featured in the background. This is how Boogs got over the way he did, for example. In many ways, it's how Matt Riddle got over the way he did. Sometimes a background push is the way to do it. It's how Madcap Moss got over. And he is somewhat over, so it's definitely worth mentioning that Ludwig Kaiser could be really benefiting from this particular push. Sean says, I don't understand what the Owen Hart tournament win is going to do for Adam. I still think he was booked better in NXT. To be fair to AEW, the NXT run was a 1 in a million run. It's very hard to maintain that level of talent consistently, week in, week out, to the point where you quite accurately say if they want to make an Adam Cole match special, they just ring the bell. That was a moment in time that will never be repeated. Just one perfect run over the course of many years. Simon, have not been catching up to that. Haven't seen any show updates as of yet. So apologies for not having anything for response to a few questions here, but I'm going to wait for the show to come out, then I'm going to watch it, and that's basically my entire plan. Megan says, I'm always going to be mad they changed Ricochet and Gunther's themes. You and me both, yeah. Ricochet's theme was a banger. Next time Gunther goes to the UK, you know we're all going to be singing it. Kuro quite likes Gunther's new theme. Simon says, thoughts on Man City signing Calvin Phillips from Leeds. A good refresher. Shows a real change to tactics from City, though. They're actually having a proper deep-lying midfielder and a proper poacher striker. It's strange. It's not very Pep Guardiola. Typically, Pep Guardiola has goalkeeper, defenders, everyone else. That's it. Whereas like other teams like this person, this person, this person, this person, all spread out. Pep Guardiola's like, all team, there. And that's his entire tactic. So it'll be interesting to see. Thomas says, do you think that the TakeOver name will return now that Triple H is back in NXT? No, probably not. He's in charge of the booking. He's not in charge of the presentation. Joey says, I wish Fabian was with them. They could have a great tag team right there on SmackDown. I do think that day will come. Because I know they're relaunching Fabian Aichner, but they can do better. And I think getting him onto the main roster with his crew will be the best way to do that. Can't argue with you there, Wiggly. Can't argue with you there. I'm excited to see... I'm excited for the Community Shield. Gunther just brutalizing Ricochet into the crab. Gunther is everything they wanted Rusev to be. Yes, he is, sure. Okay, Simon. Thanks for the updates. I'm just going to wait and then watch it when it comes out. I'm not one to focus particularly on all the little individual bits. I just wait for the TV show to be released. Though I do hope one day my own fantasy novel series is made into a TV show and hope everyone can enjoy that. That's the dream, isn't it? Megan says, I want to see Ludwig wrestle, mainly to see people's reaction to how jacked he is. We've seen him wrestle once as part of a tag team. I believe it was against Ricochet and Drew Gulak. Pardon me. They really can't work out the H in Gunther, can they? Just ask him, he knows. Hector says, if Cena and Theory is indeed for the US title, kind of sad that it takes Cena to get the mid-card on pay-per-view. Growing up, I saw the European title featured on pay-per-view more than either the US and Intercontinental titles in the last couple of years. It's so odd. It is, but also there's... At that time, there was like 3 championships. There was Intercontinental, there was World, and there was European. Now, admittedly, you had a tag team championship, but you very rarely saw women wrestle. Very rarely saw women wrestle. And there wasn't 2 world championships to go for. So, there was a lot less championships. Gunther going for the powerbomb already. And lands it. That's his finisher nowadays. And that's that. I don't recall a chop. Did I miss it? Because I wanted to hear the chop. Like, that's the trademark of Gunther. The volume. Also, I think he's got a bit of sunburn. Megan quite rightly saying the IC title hasn't been defended on pay-per-view since WrestleMania last year. Far, far too long. Now that Gunther's holding it, I'd imagine that will change, but he does need challengers and he needs them soon. Maybe Pat McAfee's the guy. Sean says, I hate when a wrestler from WWE goes to AEW. Fans say they were mistreated, so winning titles and main eventing shows and pay-per-views is mistreatment. Yeah, people don't understand the concept. They were buried. No, they weren't. It just didn't work out. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. I don't like the way that WWE fires people. Never have. Probably never will. That doesn't change the fact that I don't like the whole everyone is buried concept either. Paul Heyman and Kayla Braxton are backstage together, which is only a good thing. Cora says Ricochet's back looks ouch, doesn't it always? And Joey says, damn, is the match over already? That was like 2 minutes. Sami Zayn is jumping in so that Paul Heyman doesn't have to speak. Sorry, is Sami Zayn Paul Heyman's wise man? I know that your fantasy booking now, Simon. I don't think Britt Baker and Sasha Banks are going to be that exciting. Michael says, hi Tom. Said the other day there was an element of patience for Sasha and Naomi for John Laurinaitis' status. Is that still the case? To my knowledge, yes it is. To my knowledge, yes it is. Okay? Simon says, I thought Disney did a pretty good job making it legit badass once again. Okay? I haven't seen it. Okay? Stop it. Paul Heyman still not saying a word. Maybe the wise man comparison wasn't the most apt. Bailey is loving Sammy and Paul. Sean says, like with Moxley constantly said he was buried, but he's a Grand Slam champion and Money Bank winner. If that's mistreatment, then I don't know what is. Well, don't forget also the length of time he had for the United States Championship win. Tag Team Championship winner. Intercontinental Champion. The man held everything. Everything. Rob says, Gunther intertwined back to back to back to back to back. Chop European uppercuts in the corner on Ricochet, followed by a German suplex, running dropkick, and finally the powerbomb pinfall. Thank you, Robs. I did miss it, it seems. Bear with me 1 second. It's going to happen. I know I don't make good faces when I do that, and I do apologise. Oh. Well, that was uncomfortable. That was not a fun experience for me. Tamina is standing in the ring post-jobber entrance. You can't say much more than just plain jobber entrance there. She definitely got that treatment. She will be taking on Shotzi next in a match, once again, that I expect to last about 2 minutes at most. I don't like it, but women's matches don't last long in WWE. It's very rare to see a women's match last more than 5 minutes. And when it does, it's usually because Becky Lynch is in it. It just seems like they don't have faith in any of their actual wrestlers. Two-thirds of the way through SmackDown. Gunther versus Ricochet was okay. I can't say it was great. I feel like I'd be lying if I said that. It was okay. So I'm not going to pretend it's a world beater. I'm not going to pretend it's made SmackDown a great show. I don't feel like it has. I feel like we're still pretty average as shows go. Still pretty average. But also, to be fair, still going. And I am excited for the main event. I just wish every now and then it wasn't all about the main event. I just wish every now and then there was something else to focus on. Because at the moment, it is still very much about the main event. Much like it was last week with Roman Reigns versus Matt Riddle. It just wasn't the most exciting possibility. I really wish they would at least try and do better. But we are where we are, and we do what we do. For anyone who hasn't done so yet, please do consider hitting like on the video on YouTube. Every thumbs up can make a massive difference and could potentially really help us grow. We're currently at 1,205 subscribers, and we just got our monetization back. And with monetization coming back, it means we're going to start making ad revenue again. Now, when it comes to ad revenue and growth, the most that we're going to get will definitely be from the pay-per-views, or should I say, the premium live events. That'll be sort of the most lucrative, as it were, because for the Hell in a Cell show, we of course got 4,100 views, and we had more than 100 people watching during certain periods. Now we're going to keep working towards that. With Money in the Bank and SummerSlam around the corner, I expect them to be very, very good days, and should I say, very good nights for us. But at the same time, every thumbs up helps, every subscription helps, and every now and then, yes, I'll click an ad so that we get a bit more revenue without being too annoying about it. In a 2-hour show, 1 or 2 ads doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world, especially when they're mostly skippable. Of course, if they're not mostly skippable, let me know, because then I've got to work out how to do that. Sean said that they want challenges for Gunther, Miz, Ali, Sheamus, Butch, Riddle. He is on SmackDown, so it's only SmackDown as a possibility. I do think McIntyre, Sheamus, ready and willing to go. Shinsuke Nakamura is there as well. There are options. I just don't necessarily think he's going to be running through everyone. That's cool, Wiggly. Not sure why it has to be at midnight. Just do a long walk. I like long walks. Megan says, I did like what The Rock did for Tamina, making sure she and her family don't have to worry about having a home of their own. It also says a lot about the fact that the WWE aren't really paying people a great amount. She's been with the WWE for a very long time. And when you consider she has to pay her own travel, she has to pay her own medical insurance, and she still can't afford a home, it's not great. It says bad things about WWE, but very good things about The Rock. Gotcha, Wiggly. Gotcha. Okay. I do love a good ramble. A good charity walk, a good long distance walk. It's what I like. I'll be watching All Out, Simon. As I've said to you several times now, I don't watch a lot of AEW and I don't cover AEW here. I have never watched an AEW event on the Tom Colohue channels. I don't have time. Sean says, Doudrop won her first title in WWE but lost it immediately. I did see a picture of her holding up the 24/7 championship. They're doing okay with that belt. Like that, it still doesn't mean much, but they're actually building storylines around it at least. This match hasn't grabbed the crowd. But I will say they're not doing a bad job. There's a few actual wrestling moves, mostly because of Shotzi. It's not just a case of Tamina doing that really slow stumbling kick she does. But of course she runs straight into the ring post that she does on every one of her matches. Because they've decided Tamina's big. And the big ones, they have to go into the ring post. Shotzi defeats Tamina. Not a surprise. Sean says, one spot left for Women's Money in the Bank. Either Becky or returning Bayley. Becky is definitely who I would expect to see. I do suspect we are going to see Becky versus... who was it? Becky versus Nikki Cross versus Doudrop in a triple threat in order to earn her way into the match, because I do feel confident she's going to be winning it. We have a recap of Shanky and the Viking Raiders, which is definitely everything we want and need. Megan wants Shotzi to bring the tank back. People would pop for it. She can't do that. She will not be winning, Wiggly. I mean, you may be getting excited for it, but you also know deep down, right? You know. I don't really feel you can say pillaging the New Day. That's definitely not what happened. Kofi Kingston was not plundered. I don't think they understand what's actually happening here. It's a beating. You're not reaching into someone and taking out the innards. Megan says, Becky's on the posters. No way she's not getting that final spot. I agree. I do remember the Warlord, yeah. The Viking Raiders cutting a promo backstage. They still scream Bludgeon Brothers. So you're suggesting that no one will survive. Up next, Max Dupree presents his new brand. Oh no, presents his brand new Maximum Male Models. Logically, this should be Mansoor's moment. No, Simon, eventually someone will take a punt. Wiggly says, the Viking Raiders are like a throwback to the gimmicks of the Federation years. They are. They really are. It's very much the goon. You can see it. Going into our last half hour, we have Max Dupree up next. And then we have our main event match. It was nice to have the Viking Raiders get 2 segments there, to be honest. They had the attack. They also had a backstage promo to explain the heel turn. It's solid. It's standard, you know. You don't have to be fancy to get it right. And I think they've got it right there. Wiggly says, would there be an issue in bringing back the Doink the Clown gimmick? There wouldn't be an issue. I think the only issue is that nobody wants that. Just like nobody wants that. Hector says, if Gunther's finisher seemingly being a powerbomb, I feel like it deserves a proper name. A man of his stature shouldn't just have a powerbomb. No, it wouldn't be the greatest name, but I'd like it to be called a howitzer. As an Austrian type was a devastating thing in World War II. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Probably not. Wiggly says, I know one of the wrestlers who played Doink passed in real life, was reasonably popular and memorable. He was. He was very well received, particularly Dark Doink, which is just a wonderful thing to say. I just don't think it's anything that people actually want in a modern wrestling world, as it were. Like, if they were going to do it, they would have done it when it came out. Or I should say the remake of it. Because I think it did come out when it came out. I liked Doink's inclusion in the Money in the Bank ladder match in 2020. That was good. To be honest, I really enjoyed that ladder match. I need to go back and watch that at some point. Just for the memories. You know, thanks for the memories. Yes, Simon, I have heard the story about the Rockers Tag Team Championship win. And then they gave back the championships because the WWE changed their minds. It is amazing how different things would be. Amazing how different things were before camera phones. Amazing how different things were. You could make something at a live show and then just change your mind. You just change your mind. Imagine a world where you could do that. Do you think AJ Styles would have beaten Jinder Mahal the way he did? I mean, they had a WWE Championship change off camera. Like, that's a world. That is a world that we live in. So half hour left. I'm genuinely quite hyped for our main event. I do think Sheamus and McIntyre can make it work. But it depends if Ridge Holland and Butch are getting involved. If during the middle of the match, Butch decides I'm going to attack Drew McIntyre now, the whole thing could fall apart. Before you know it, Sheamus is a good guy. Sean says, did everyone know this is Max Dupree's second run in WWE? He was in WWE back in 2013 as Sean Ricker. Let go because he didn't get along with former NXT head trainer Bill DeMott. Well, let's be honest, nobody got along with Bill DeMott, and there was some pretty good reasons for it. Though, of course, there was a bit of a culture amongst the boys there. A culture that people like Donald Trump also have. I don't know, Simon. I've not chased up Terry Funk in a long time. It's an interesting question. Maybe you could send him an email, mate. Max Dupree is headed to the ring. And Megan is melting as we speak. No, he's not. He's just backstage. Standing really close. Okay, so still not happening. I like the birthday boy reference. I'm really not sure where they're going with this whole character. You're either feuding with Adam Pearce or what? What next? The green M&M's thing's actually real, by the way. Simon hopes Liv and Alexa team up on Raw. They probably will, mate. They're a tag team now. They are royally taking the piss at this point. Just royally taking the piss. I wonder if this was written by the same person who wrote the Naomi-Sonya Deville feud. Because Naomi just chased Sonya Deville around for ages saying, can I have a match? 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 It felt very much like this. Pat McAfee is standing on the table. This is a Baron Corbin segment waiting to happen. It is indeed a Baron Corbin segment waiting to happen. The main event's going to be like 10 minutes. Pat McAfee said, bitch. Is the corporate sponsored swear word? Pat McAfee's introduced a recap. What are you doing? Megan says the main event is going to be under 10 minutes at this rate. Yep. There's going to be, 2 more commercial breaks. So we've got whatever is happening here, then a commercial break, then the entrances, then probably another commercial break, and then the actual match. This is not great. Hector says, kudos to Max Dupree for making this gimmick, but I'm losing interest. They better have someone big planned or this may fall flat. I can't see otherwise. I really can't. That was not a short recap either. Megan says maybe McAfee will be the promised one. Chosen one who restores Corbin to all his hobo bum ass glory. Seems like he's trying to. Lots of reference to his bum ass. Are they announcing this match for Money in the Bank? That just steal from The Rock, mate. Sean says, would Pat beat Corbin if the match happens? Probably not. I don't think he should. I think the idea here is to get as much heat back on Corbin as possible. And Pat McAfee is the ideal person to do that. I expected it would be SummerSlam. Very much expected that it would be SummerSlam. Just made the most sense to save the match for then. Doesn't mean I didn't briefly get excited. That is a great spot for Corbin at SummerSlam. Great spot for both of them. Great promo. Like that is just a great promo, top to bottom. Sorry guys, thought someone was breaking into my house. Pat McAfee might be the best promo the WWE have right now. Bear with me guys. I'm just going to pop downstairs for a moment. Just double check. It's a commercial break anyway. I will be right back. Bear with me and I'll see you in a moment. We're good. Was hearing things apparently, which quite happy about, let's be fair. Right. Right, the main intros have just started. Looks like we'll get a 50-minute main event. Sean says, I noticed at WrestleMania they said Pat was the third commentator to call a match and wrestle at WrestleMania. We all know Michael Cole was the second. Who was the first one? I believe it was Jerry Lawler. Hector says, I need a whole Pat McAfee shoe promo. The man clearly talks with the best of them. You are not wrong there. Simon says, who do you think finally beats Mandy? She's 286 days into her title run. Once again, don't watch enough NXT. Don't know. Probably Roxanne. Can I do a People Power impersonation? Good question, Joey. As I recall, People Power starts just by going really slow and then really low and then just losing track of basically your entire voice. It's not good, is it? It's not good. Let's actually try and use the phrase. The People Power. People Power. It's not good. I tried. Sean says, I say Roxanne or Cora beats Mandy to answer that question. Roxanne seems to have completely overtaken Cora. Just completely blankly overtaken her. Thanks for returning. It's just really simple. Yep. Old news, as it were. So we still have, I would imagine, because we had Fight Night coming down, we still have the Usos entrance. I don't think they'll get a job as entrance, the Usos, and if they did, I think I'd be furious. And I think the WWE would deserve for me to be furious. The Usos, guys, it's the Usos. So yes, no Roman, no Brock, no Sasha, no Naomi, nothing. As is, this should be one of those Smackdowns that isn't really survivable. That you come out of it the other side and you're like, I wasn't very good. Nothing really happened. There was no draws. And that's kind of exactly where we are. This hasn't been a great show. I'm certainly not in love with this particular one. Wouldn't come back to it and watch it again. Certainly not. Which is half the fight, isn't it? If you can't convince people to come back, then what's the point? Hector says, I don't watch Impact, but I was able to catch Slammiversary, and several times they emphasised that Moose was a wrestling god. Wasn't that JBL's gimmick back in the day? Yeah. It's not the same gimmick, but it's certainly similar. And Sean says, I'm excited. Rick Boogs is going to be in the next DLC for 2K22 on the 28th. It is overdue, considering he's been teaming with Nakamura for about a year. Admittedly injured now, but still. Rob says this should be a fun match. I hope so. Definitely hope so. So it was indeed Lawler. Thank you for the confirmation, Megan. Rich Holland just trying to keep Butch separate. Sheamus and McIntyre arguing in the ring. Very different hands. Very different. The Usos do, of course, get their full entrance, meaning that this may still end up being a 10-minute main event, let's be honest. The Usos carrying both belts just seems a little bit awkward. Like the bloodline are far in the distance from everybody else in the company. No one is even close to their level. It is bad for the company, but it's great for them. At some point, Butch is going to get loose, surely. What I will say is it's fantastic seeing Sheamus back in the main event scene. His main event in SmackDown is teaming with someone who was quite recently WWE champion and who was quite recently in and amongst Roman. He's working against the Usos. Always a good thing. And now the Street Profits are coming down, so the storyline's kicked in. These, of course, will be the opponents for the Usos at Money in the Bank. Drew looks confused. Sheamus just looks mad. This is turning into a bit of a lumberjack match. I'm not arguing with the concept. You've said that several times, Simon. We got it. The bell rings. We have less than 15 minutes, but not too much less than 15 minutes. And Sheamus and McIntyre are arguing about who starts the match. A smart person would just get it. Oh, no, Butch wants to... Butch trying to fight the Usos. Rich Holland crawling in to try and stop him. And it looks like McIntyre's the guy. Hector says, I can't wait for the eventual separation and match between Sheamus and Butch. That's going to be a good time for sure. It will. That's very true. The whole point of all of this is the background push for Rich Holland and Butch. Getting the crowd used to them. And making it so that by association you cheer, you boo, you do whatever you do. Also, to be honest, Pete Dunne's doing an alright job. Like, he's given this Butch personality a lot of personality. It's a different, unique character. Much like Ezekiel or someone like that. Larry Bongo says Butch is 100% based on Scrappy-Doo. He has the most Scrappy-Doo energy in the world. Kuro, you are a strange one. Sheamus does glow, we know this. But I imagine he'd be more of a lava lamp man. The Street Profits are on commentary just mocking the Usos. Just mocking them. Meanwhile, so far, Sheamus and McIntyre doing well together, though trying to show each other up at every opportunity. Butch is just really enjoying watching Jey Uso get battered. I have no issue with that. That's just good characterization. Awkward rolling senton there. Jey didn't really take that properly. Mocks the Claymore. It doesn't really help that both of these guys have a very similar finisher. McIntyre going for Butch. This is commercial break territory. And Sheamus and McIntyre started punching each other. Well, that was a suicide dive tandem. They ended up crossing over each other. Sheamus and McIntyre giving a reminder that he's supposed to be on the same team. But how can they coexist? That's fair, Kuro. Made the neon sign an actual product. I'd hang that in a bar. Absolutely. I'm going to tweet just the phrase, but how can they coexist? Because it's the WWE motto, isn't it? Rob says Pete is all in on the Scrappy-Doo gimmick and that's what gets you over. True. Imagine if The Undertaker wasn't all in on being The Undertaker. Looking at isolation, that is a ridiculous gimmick. That is genuinely a terrible gimmick that he got saddled with. But he made it work. He made it work well. So, every now and then, you've got to be Scrappy-Doo. Hector says, I hate when they have two teams in a match where there's no benefit to either team losing. They could have had anyone face the Usos. I'd imagine this is just going to be an absolute mess and be overbooked as hell in the end, to be fair. So not a real problem for the Usos. If anything, the win will be by DQ. It'll be Butch breaking in, attacking Drew McIntyre, and then they win. Or something like that. And then next week they have to run it back. It's not going to be a great finish, let's be honest. The match should be good, though. I'm annoyed at how little time we've got for it and how much the story's already kicked in. Like, when they throw the story into just... You gotta pick your moments better. Because at the moment, the moments you're picking is just at all time. It's just a mess. Right. Sean says, according to SRS, Aaliyah was sent back to the PC to reevaluate her in-ring work as WWE officials weren't impressed by performance during the rehearsal for the match with Shotzi, and Tamina scheduled to fly early Friday morning to SmackDown at request of Michael Hayes. All sounds credible. There is a reason that Aaliyah took forever to be called up, and a reason that she very rarely gets involved. Megan says, at least it's not obvious wheel spinning like we usually get the week before the go-home. True. Usually the week before the go-home is an absolute dead zone, absolute waste of time. But they've given us a solid match here. They've given us something interesting, at least. Bailey says, The Undertaker might have been a crazy character, but in interviews, Mark Calloway said was worried he would be saddled with the gobbledygooker character. Yeah. Somebody had to be gobbledygooker, and he didn't want it. Joey says, I hate these coexisting matches, lazy booking. I mean, you say that, but there are times when it's clearly a problem, and times when it's lesser a problem. This doesn't seem like that big a problem for me. The Usos have been the workhorses for a while. McIntyre and Sheamus have something to fight for. And Pat McAfee, whenever there's a camera anywhere near him, starts flipping pencils. Every time. Every time. Street Profits aren't really adding much. I like that they're mocking the Usos, but they're not really adding much. Pat McAfee said Wassin said Cup. Montez Ford says everything. Riveting commentary here. Absolutely riveting. Yay. Sheamus looks like he's building for the hot tag. I don't see Butch and Ridge Holland. Where have they vanished to? They on the other side of the ring? Or have they actually been sent out in the commercial break? The crowd are chanting for the Usos. They know who the ones are. They're too good to be bad. Hector says, with AJ not being in Money in the Bank, I really hope they give him something big at SummerSlam. I put good money to see AJ and KO have a feud and match at SummerSlam. I wouldn't put that at SummerSlam. I don't necessarily think AJ is going to be featured at SummerSlam. Though it may be a triple threat, Edge, Finn Balor and AJ. I'd be there for that. Never do anything twice. Jimmy went back to the well. Never do anything twice. Got the knee in the face. If Sheamus tags out now, we're building to a finish. Sean says, imagine if they put Aaliyah back with Mr. Stone. Ghost comes in and says, hey, you all just made it in before the finish. The Aaliyah report is actually fake. Some fan on Twitter created it since she's not a fan favourite by any means. Thank you for that clarification, Ghost. I very much appreciate it. So, Sean, where did you get your information from? Was it a screenshot on Twitter? Let's double check and see if we can make this a learning experience. Just let me know your source. Kura says, I will say if the Aaliyah thing, if Michael Hayes did really change that, there definitely was something not good with the work. Hayes doesn't pull that for no reason. Well, yeah, false report. Sean says it was actually. Sorry. No worries, Sean. It's not like you're being dishonest about it. You saw something you thought was a genuine report and you shared it here. Now, while I do appreciate you bringing it in and you did attempt to source it, we do need to be a little bit more careful. Just a little bit more. Because people are of the opinion that wrestlers and wrestling journalists a free rein to just print lies about. So we do need to double check our information if need be and make sure that it's coming direct from the source. This is the sort of thing that potentially damages careers. So that's all I'm really worried about there. Butch and Rich Holland were sent to the back. Butch has come back down and distracted the ref. Rich Holland is getting in the way, as it were. Sami Zayn's here. Okay, I'm loving this. It is overbooked to hell, but it's working. Sami Zayn tried to get involved. The Street Profits blocking him. If they start scrapping now, the Usos win. McIntyre jumping over the top rope. Just landing on everyone. Celtic Warriors are in the ascendancy. Jimmy gets a brogue kick. It's almost like these two can actually work together pretty well. Jimmy back in the ring. Sheamus watching the outside, making sure no one's going to be invading and block him. Jimmy survives, but only for a second. The Usos lose. McIntyre and Sheamus pick up the win, and we end the night exactly where we started it when it comes to Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. I would like to see a handshake. I don't think we're going to. What I do like is that they are both smiling as they undoubtedly threaten each other. Ghost says SRS hasn't reported why Aaliyah was replaced, but there are rumours that she may be suffering from an injury. Okay. There is no big issue with not knowing everything immediately, and I think people need to be reminded of this every now and then. It's not a bad thing to just stop for a moment and just think, we'll know eventually, it's okay. McIntyre and Sheamus celebrating on top of the ropes. People cheering for Sheamus. I could see this going somewhere. So that was SmackDown. Finished alright. I enjoyed that finish. I think the end of SmackDown was pretty solid, to be fair. Getting there, not so much. The overall show, particularly the brevity of the women's matches, they just weren't impressive for me. So while the main event was good, the opening match was good, the use of Sami Zayn was pretty solid there. Street Profits nicely done. Everyone had a part to play. While all of this is true, I can't call that a good show. It was an average show. Sean's quite rightly saying the Ronda and Natalya feud wasn't good. Natalya did well with what she was given, but she was given crap. She did well with crap. That's where we are with that one. That said, it is now 3 a.m. So your boy Tom, he needs some sleep. He needs his bed. So we are going to wrap it up there. We will not be having a gaming show on Sunday. I am otherwise occupied, so we will not be having a gaming show on Sunday. My next show, thusly, will be, spoiler warning, on Monday. So, I look forward to seeing you all there. Thanks everyone for joining me. I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic. I'll see you all very soon.